So thank you, Kat, for this very explanatory session. Just to put everything in a framework, as you realized, we are touching many different topics about project management. And in the webinar number 1, we talked about planning in general, starting from the why question. And now we are getting into detail. We just show you how to turn the problem tree into a solution plan. And when you propose a solution, in our case, in the case of the organizations we are involved in, we have to propose some activities, and the activities we usually do are non-formal education activities with also some element of informal education. So this is actually matches exactly what with the last slide showed by Kat. This was a list of all the formats that you can use in your project. So all the potential activities that you can use. Why? In order to make a change. We want to do this, we want to implement, we want to propose this non-formal education activities formats. You could see in Kat's list, there were many different formats. And these are actually our arrows that we can launch in order to reach the participant, in order to reach our targets. We have to be creative. We want to have a strong impact. We want to be inclusive. There are, of course, many more potential formats, activities, but we hope that we gave you an inspiration about this. And most of all, it is very important to have a clear understanding of the difference between formal education and non-formal education, because we are working with the non-formal education format. And when we design our project, also in the application, we have sometimes, or quite often, we have to describe the activities. We have to include a plan, a program, the method, the methodology. So you should have clear ideas about why you want to do a project, what kind of problem you want to address. But then going forward in the project planning, you need to have clear idea also about the activities, what kind of learning outcomes you want to reach, what kind of games you want to propose, what kind of target you want to reach with your activity. So this was very important to talk about formal education in order to have a clear understanding about this. Now, since the title of the first 2 webinars are project management from A to Z, we are going to tackle another important element. So we have been talking about project design, now about the activities, non-formal education. Now we are going to talk about partnership. Why are we talking about partnership? Actually, this is a request coming from you, and I will explain you why. In webinar number 0, so it was the introductory meeting, we launched a self-assessment task, both to our official participants, so the representative of the partner organization of empowering youth, including also our friends from the partnership with World Heritage Volunteers. And you can see in the upper part of this chart, and the blue-gray, we have their responses. Whereas in the lower part of this chart, you can see the responses from the external viewers from Facebook. They are quite similar. And if you remember well, it was the task when we asked you to place the element in the comfort zone, learning zone, and panic zone. And we found out that for many people, budget numbers are quite scary. And you could see it's the element that scored most. But we found out also that for some participants, there is the need to talk more about partnership and how to create a partnership and to understand how a partnership can work effectively. And this is the reason why we decided to include this element in today's webinar. And we are going to talk actually about two dimensions. The first one, we are going to analyze 3 potential approaches that organization can have while designing a project together with partners. These are 3 approaches which are quite realistic. They are based on our personal and organizational experience. And then we are going to discuss also about the most effective way on how to build a partnership which is a very interesting topic, most of all for those who are just starting their career as project manager, and they would like to start writing or designing project together with other partners, but they don't know how to get them. So let's tackle the first issue. That is the partnership style, and we prepare this presentation here. So project partnership, different working style. We have three potential scenarios, three potential working style. The first is the so-called applicant-driven project. Here, we have an applicant organization that develops an idea. Usually, it's an organization already familiar with grants, with project applications, some organization that have already received grants, so that has also the possibility to get the grant approved. So this organization identifies the grant opportunity, the application alone. So maybe with the member of the staff, or maybe with also some activists, member of the board, but it's just the one organization that takes the initiative. So then the applicant organization sends a call to find interested partners. In this call, it could be included the description of the project, the activities, the timeline with the different activities, the roles of the partner, etc. And then after creating the partnership, the partnership can be also consolidated through specific agreements where the roles of the partners are better defined. So what happens in the end? The applicant finalizes the project, the application, takes into account the feedback, the possible feedback from partners, and then submits the application, okay? So basically you can see it is, we call this approach applicant-driven project because there's just one organization, which is the most experienced, that takes the initiative, inform the other partners, and then takes care of all the process and submit the application. So you could see that partners here are not so much involved, but let's assume that the project is approved, the grant is approved, and then there is the possibility to catch up. So after the approval, the partners are involved in the development of the activities. This might happen quite often. Sometimes organizations are under pressure, so they don't have actually the time and the possibility to involve the other partners in the process of the development of the organization. So let's say that there are 2 weeks time before the deadline of the application. So one organization takes the initiative and successfully submits the application, and then the application is approved. Okay, in this case, yes, the partners can be involved afterwards. Here, there is the risk that some misunderstandings might happen in this phase when the partners meet again, because maybe because of time pressure, the details were not clearly explained. Some participants thought that the activities were different, and then here is the time to clarify this. Maybe some partners could be disappointed. This might happen with this system, you know. So when you choose to do this applicant-driven project working style, you have to take into account that after after the grant is approved, then you have to be really clear and inclusive with the partners, because maybe they still don't have a clear idea about the aim of the project, of the activities. Then there is another scenario. There is the partly participatory approach. In this case, the idea is developed not only by an applicant, but in cooperation with other organizations. Can be, let's say, a team of one or more organizations. So they work together from the very beginning. They identify the grant opportunity and start designing the application together, okay? In this case, the application organization sends a call to find further partners, and the other organization can help with other roles that can help disseminating the call, finding other partners. So here again, after creating the partnership, these organizations, the applicant organization submit the application, and let's assume that the project is approved, the grant is received, and then again, the partners can be involved in the development of the activities. Here is a step further because there are more partners who were involved from the very first step. So there will be less room for misunderstanding. Nevertheless, there could be still the need to be clear, to explain to the new partners what is it about, okay? Then we have the third option is the full participatory approach. Here, in this case, all the partners of the project are totally included from the very beginning in the project design phase. So organization join the partnership from the very beginning and contribute together to the development of the idea, okay? So actually, it is very rare that this happens, but it can happen. So for example, for the organization that belongs to a network or to a movement, they can meet regularly every year for the assembly or for the committee meeting. And this is the perfect space for them to gather and to start discussing and create project ideas. So it is possible to use this fully participatory approach. Then, of course, you need an applicant organization, and maybe this applicant can coordinate the process, but it is not leading the process. Basically, it is just coordinating. So there is the total freedom for the other partners to contribute with the content. It is not one organization doing this, but it is the whole partnership. And then, of course, the applicant is the administrative responsibility to finalize and to submit the application. Let's assume again that the grant is approved. After approval, yeah, partners have, of course, to start again working for the development of the activities. But here, there is that added value that all the partners know very well every element of the project because they've been involved from the very beginning. So there are less chances to have misunderstandings, frictions, or potential conflict because everybody knows what the activities are, what the aims are, and you don't need to invest time and energy in order to explain this again. So these are the three potential scenarios. Of course, you can have also mixed scenarios. This is just a model. But to recap, with the applicant-driven, you will invest less time in writing the application because you're working alone. So usually you can do this also in 2-3 weeks. But the involvement of the partners, as you can see in this model, is low. And as we said before, this could be a risk for the next phases of the project. Then the partly participatory approach, you require more time, of course, because you're working together with more organizations, and this requires more coordination, so more communication, more time, more energy. But there is the advantage, as you can see, that the involvement of partners is higher compared to applicant-driven. And then, of course, you have also the last model that is fully participatory. It requires much more time because you have to bring in the same table all the potential partners together. But what is the advantage? Then the involvement of the partners is very high. So this means that also the potential results in terms of impact of the project are much higher. Of course, also applicant-driven project, as we saw, they can have also a strong impact if after the approval of the project, you catch up and you involved the partners investing more time and energy in explaining what the project is about and in identify the roles and including them more effectively in the phases of implementation. So this is just was a short explanation to show you how it works in reality, working with partners. Sometimes it might happen that if you work in your organization, you receive just a task to write the project in 1 week or 2 weeks because the deadline is approaching and there is no time to fully involve the the partners. In this case, be aware that yes, maybe there could be consequences and you have to invest much more energy in involving the partners later. If you want to fully involve all the partners, you can choose the model, the approach number 2 or 3, but be aware that of course this requires more time and more energy, but it could be much more rewarding and effective for the future. So this was just, I will stop sharing. This was, as I said, a short explanation of the model. I would just open now the microphone for the Zoom participant, for the official participant. If they have experience in life experiences or working experiences related to one of these three approaches. So if they have some comments to share about it, and it would be interesting to know if you had experience in approach number 1, 2, or 3, if it was a positive or negative experience, if there are learning outcomes. So, if there's anybody who would like to comment this or to share experiences. Actually, you need to be involved already in some advanced project management experience in order to have a clear understanding of this. If you have not this experience, in the future, for sure, you will meet these scenarios. You can comment also. Yeah,
I would like to to say something about it.
Yeah, please, Antonella.
Yeah, I have experience about the applicant-driven project because with my organization in Italy, I wrote one project about the human library method, and they asked me to write a project like alone. So I started doing this alone, and I also tried to build a partnership. It was not easy because we had some contact with some partners that we had for other projects, but it was like, okay, we are writing this project. Are you interested in the topic, in the method? They said yes. But then also the participants that arrived in Italy for the training course were not very motivated, maybe for this reason, because we didn't build the partnership like together from the beginning, and we didn't write the project together. So at the end, we had the project. It was okay, like we had some results, good results, outcomes, but I don't know, for me it was not very easy to build a partnership like this, just like writing an email and, hey, are you interested in this? Just because the organization were working on the topic of racism, and our human library was connected with the situation of migrants in Italy, so they were interested because of the topic. But yeah, not a very good experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Actually, this is one of the most common scenario in our organization, not because we are not good organization, but because there is the time of limited resources and limited time. So time pressures and the approaching of the deadline sometimes are the reasons why there is no possibility to bring all the partners around the same table and to start planning together. Nonetheless, approach 2 and 3, as we showed, they can be implemented. It requires more energy, and of course, it requires the will to start planning much in advance. Just remember that we are not writing and designing projects only because we want to get the money. The money is the instrument, but what we really are aiming for are to create the difference, to create an impact, and to try to contribute to the solution of the problems, or try to involve as much as possible the participant and the partners. So the risk of approach number 1 is sometimes we just work because we want to get the grant. So with the grant, we have also the financial stability of our organization. We can pay the salary for the staff, and with the salary, the staff can write project in order to get the grant. And so you see, it's just like we call it the hamster in the wheel. It's a process that sometimes the only purpose of this project is just to get the grant and to write project, to get the grant, to write the project, and so on. And if you just end up in this kind of wheel, sometimes it's very hard to get out of it. And sometimes, so it's important to say stop. Let's get more time. Let's get more time to involve the partners and to write meaningful projects that will allow us to have an impact. Of course, the resources are limited, the time is limited, we know very well. So in reality, it is very hard to do it, but we can make efforts. in order to do this. So before finishing this session about partnership, we would like also to launch a poll and to discuss about the way to find partners. So we are going to launch this poll for the Zoom members, Zoom participants, and Julia at the same time will share the same question in the Facebook chat. So just I will launch here. So you will see a question. The question will be, what is the most effective way to find international partners? I will launch. You should be able now to see that there are seven different choices. So one way could be joining a large network or a movement. So to clarify the question, let's imagine that you are a very new organization. You have an idea for a project, but you don't have partners. How do you, what is the best way to find international partners this way? You can join a large network or a movement, like for example, CCIVS. You know that network or movement, they organize also assemblies, and there you can find many, many members, and you can discuss about many things. You can attend networking meetings. They are usually organized by institutions like also Erasmus+. They give the possibility for small organizations to meet with other like-minded organizations, and you can create projects together. You can look for partners on Facebook. This is adventurous task because sometimes you don't know so much about the profile of the organization. You can launch or call on Salto. Salto is a resource website of the Erasmus+, where you can launch different kind of requests or ideas in order to find partners, trainers, and in order to advertise your project. You can join first a project as a partner, and then you can gain competencies, and you can be an applicant in the future. You can contact potential partners by email and wait for the reply. Who knows, maybe you will find somebody interested. Or you can contact partners calling them on the phone, which is also can be an effective strategy, but maybe you will risk to disturb them, or they don't want to be interrupted in the daily work, and maybe they are not interested. It's just like, you know, this cold calling, sometimes it is not as effective, but it could be a strategy. So you can choose among these, and then we can see what is the according to you, the most effective method in order to find international partners. So I will give just 20 seconds more, and then we will reveal the result, and then I will also generate the result for Facebook. So here, and we can stop the survey for Zoom, and the winner is with 71%, joining a large network or a movement. So you should see now the result. The winner is, according to you, joining a large network or a movement is the best way to find international partners. According to our experience, yes. Yeah. There are much more chances also because, as we said before, usually this big movement or network, they organize a regular assembler meeting, statutory meeting, and this is the best way for you to meet with the representatives of the organization, of the members. There are working groups, committees. It's the best way to find potential partners to work with. And also another one who scored quite high was attending networking meeting, which is something very similar. I will now generate the report for the Facebook participants. So we have actually nine replies. In just a second. Okay, I'm downloaded it. Okay, now I've generated, I will share the screen. So we will see also the result, if there is a correlation of result. Okay, yes, the same, 44%. Joining a large network or movement, it is considered as the best way. Yeah, so just to conclude this session, you know very well that CCIVS, which is the applicant of this Empowering Youth project, is a big network, which include many members. If you are interested, of course, in CCIVS, feel free to contact us in order to get more information on how you can reach, how you can get more information about the IVS movement, the things that we do. If you're interested in a formal education and the same aim and purposes of CCIVS, please, you are welcome to contact us, and we will see how we can cooperate and work together.